Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Julie from Living Large on Lifetime, and today it's time for the Wednesday Weekly on Thursday. That's right, I am a day late. Yesterday I had no time to film this at all, but we are talking today about emotional eating. That is the topic in the WW Studios this week, the emotional eating and how to escape emotional eating. So I'm going to just go over this weekly for those of you who, number one, don't get a chance to go over it in your meeting room, and number two, those of you who are online and don't get the weekly in person, because I think it's really valuable. It has some really valuable information. So like I said, this is all about emotional eating, and I always joke to people, I always say I am not an emotional eater until I get emotional, and then I eat. So I can actually think of two circumstances this past week with emotional eating. One I handled well and one I did not. One circumstance was on Saturday when I got a flat tire, and it kind of blew, not only the flat tire, it blew my whole day, and I let it blow my entire day. My entire day was just wrecked, and I ended that day eating a half of a Hawaiian pizza. It was delicious. It was worth it. But was it emotional eating? Yes, it absolutely was, because I wanted the pizza to make myself feel better. Did it make me feel better? Sadly, yes, it did. I was not even regretful this time because I hadn't really eaten the rest of the day. So those points really were my points for the entire day, which is okay. Even if I would have used some weeklies, it still should be okay. But it was technically emotional eating. The next circumstance was on Tuesday when I could feel myself spiraling into this huge depression. Thank God it didn't go that far, but I could feel it coming on, and I literally just wanted to eat, drink, or sleep. So what I ended up doing was I ended up going to a restaurant by myself. I had some things to do for work, so I just looked at it as a relaxing environment, very peaceful and calm and quiet, and I had a very healthy and fulfilling salmon salad. So that was a circumstance of emotional eating that turned out well. So it's possible to feel our emotions, go through what we're supposed to be going through, and not fuel it with food. So it just takes a lot of practice. Believe me, I've been there. So this says whether it's sadness, anger, or stress, when a strong feeling has you reaching for food, you're emotionally eating. And I also have to add to that list whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, or stress. A lot of us eat when we're happy and we're celebrating. Does that count as emotional eating? Because happiness is an emotion as well, and you also need to keep those emotions in check when it comes to food, because celebrating is one thing and over celebrating is another thing. So emotional eating is actually a learned response that can become a habit. Weight Watchers is talking a lot about habits and behavior changes, and I am totally on board with that, because weight loss and the whole weight journey is a mind game, you guys. It totally starts here in your mind, and your mind controls your actions. So we have to start with where the thoughts begin, where the actions begin, right here in our mind, our behaviors, and our habits. So emotions are actually, though, like waves, rising and falling. Isn't this the truth? Emotions are like waves, rising, peaking, and then subsiding. So it is possible to wait out the emotion without running to food. I have found this to be true in just literally recent days. My emotions on Tuesday were a huge tidal wave, and they've started to subside, peaking, rising, and then falling. So it's just sometimes a matter of sitting out those emotions, waiting for them to pass, doing something else, something constructive, besides immediately turning to food. I know it's much easier said than done, especially when you're in the moment and all you can think of is that emotion and that food. So, but you might feel frustrated or ashamed if you eat in response to your emotions. If you eat, if you're feeling emotional and then you eat, then you're going to feel frustrated, ashamed, upset, and then you're going to eat in response to those feelings. So it turns into a vicious cycle, and one that we could interrupt like midstream. We just need to practice doing it. So this says, in regards to habits, it says, over time you can make turning to a non-food activity instead of food automatic when emotions hit. One way to do it is to write down what you want to do instead of eating, maybe calling a friend, and post the note on the fridge. This is your cue. Remember, behaviors and habits are about cues, behavior, and reward. So a habit is a cue, a behavior, and a reward. So putting the sticky note on the fridge is your cue to call your friend, which is the behavior, and then feeling better after talking to your friend is the reward. So there again, we are learning how to create healthier habits for ourselves. So that is all on page 1 of the weekly, discussing emotional eating and how we can not turn to food and how we can create healthier habits. Apologize for the lighting here. I'm gonna start looking like an angel. So on the next page are some suggestions for what to do to bust a bad mood. I'm gonna read through them because there may be something that resonates with you that you could really hang on to and use this week instead of turning to food. So it says, try a non-food activity to divert you and even help boost your mood. If you do it often enough, it can become your go-to response. So some of the suggestions they have are to sing aloud to your favorite song, go for a bike ride, a jog, or a walk, tackle a long delayed to-do, like organize the linen closet, toss old refrigerator items. Another suggestion is to practice mindful breathing. Go on Connect on the mobile app, very, very encouraging on Connect. Hug a friend or a family member. And then the two that really resonated with me, number 1 is make something, a flower arrangement, a craft, a homemade greeting card, a drawing, a birdhouse. That really appeals to me because I really love doing crafts and making things, and even just coloring really relaxes me. I find it relaxing. It brings me in the moment and takes me away from my outside stressors. So I really like that idea, to just make something. And then the other one is to call or text a friend. I utilize that one, and I think that part of what helped me not emotionally eat on Tuesday was that I was talking to several of my good friends. So, and they, thankfully, they helped pull me out of the mood. So, also one more last suggestion is to plan your next vacation. So then there's space where you can write in your own ideas on the weekly. And it says, choose an idea above to try the next time you want to eat out of emotion. I would encourage you guys to if you have this weekly, circle the one activity that really resonates with you, that you think you could really realistically do when you get emotional and need to turn to food, or feel like you need to turn to food. Circle that activity and then do it this week. For those of you who don't actually have the weekly, and even if you have the weekly, maybe write down the activity that you want to do on a post-it note like they suggested, and put it on your refrigerator so that when you feel like turning to food, you see the post-it note, that's your cue, you do the behavior, and then you get rewarded for that. So the next page is our Think Again model. So this is where we practice reframing our thoughts. And again, it all starts up here, you guys. It all starts up here. When you recognize eating isn't the answer to strong emotions, it will be easier to replace it with a better feel-good response. So the first example, the unhelpful thought, says, eating is the only thing that's going to make me feel less stressed right now. We've all had that thought, right? The helpful thought is, I am stressed and I feel like only eating will help, but I know I won't feel good later on. Walking around the block to clear my mind has helped before, so I'll give that a try. Much better thought process. The next example of an unhelpful thought is, I can't stop turning to food when I feel sad. They're like reading my mind here. The helpful thought is, turning to food when I'm sad has become a habit, but if I do something else comforting and repeat it whenever I feel sad, I can develop a healthier habit that feels good in the moment and in the long run. So that's the goal. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So there's always a space here where you get to have your turn with your unhealthy thoughts and reframing them into a helpful thought. So my unhelpful thought is, I feel so down right now that I honestly don't care how I look or feel. I might as well eat pizza. That's legitimately an unhelpful thought that I have had recently. The helpful thought, turning it around, is I feel so down right now, but I know there are a lot of people and things that make me happy. I'm going to list them out right now. So that was my little mind exercise. I would encourage you guys to do that. It may seem like a silly little simple exercise, but it really does. The more you think about these thought processes and attempt to change them, then the more you're actually in the moment, you can change those thought processes. So give it a try. The next page is inspiration from a member. And you guys have said that you really like these success stories because they're very encouraging. So I'm going to read this entire success story to you. This comes from Felicia in California, and she joined 6 years ago. I hit my goal in 2014, and now I'm a leader too. Her favorite WW tool is the weekly meeting. I agree. I love my leader, and the group is awesome. So like many of us, Felicia's gone through some emotional upheavals. Here's how she tackles rough patches without food. Eating emotionally. When I was sad about the deaths of my mom and brother a few years ago, I often turned to salty, sweet, or greasy foods. They seemed to satisfy me in the moment, and for that moment, they made me feel better. But it wasn't long before I'd regret my choices. Food as a faux fix. I realized food is only momentarily gratifying to emotions. When I hear that little voice in my head saying, "You don't need that food," I think about what's next, about what that food will do to my mood right now and later to my weight. Making smart swaps. I turn to activities for comfort. I enjoy walking my dog, I visit with my father or my nephews, or spend time with my fiance and best friends. WW meetings always put me in a good mood, motivated mood, and my choices afterward are so much better. Get happier habits. I love clothes and I have a ton of cute outfits. I try outfits on pairing the top, bottom, jewelry, and shoes. Another fun task has been organizing my house. Hello, Fit Points. One of my dreams is to do stand-up comedy, so sometimes I just watch my favorite stand-up comics and study. And when I'm having a very difficult time avoiding emotional eating, I'll play or cuddle with my loving dog, Charlie. And that reminds me that yesterday's 100 Healthy Habits in 100 Days was to pet your pet for at least 15 minutes. So there's a lot to be said about having a pet and that unconditional love, and really interacting with your pet really releases a lot of stress. So not the last page, but the next page is the recipe. You guys, this looks so good. I love these mini bell peppers, and these are grilled baby peppers in oregano vinaigrette. It serves 6 and it is 0 smart points per serving. So I will put the recipe in the description box down below if you guys are interested, but I gotta show you the picture one more time because it just looks and sounds delicious. So the next page is just where you can write thoughts on your meeting, and the last page has a coupon. So if you get this weekly, don't forget to check out the coupon on the back. It is for the Jolly Time popcorn, and I'm a big fan of popcorn all of a sudden because I'm going to more movies. So that's a coupon I can definitely and will definitely use. So that is what the weekly topic is in the WW Studios this week, emotional eating. Let me know how you guys have overcome some of your emotional eating. I can't get enough tips on this subject. You probably can't get enough tips on this subject. This is something that we all go through and we all have the capability to overcome. We just have to utilize our tools, utilize what we're learning, and practice. We can overcome emotional eating. I am proof. I did it once this week and I failed once this week, so I'm halfway there. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, please let me know down below, or comments on emotional eating, let me know and we can get some dialogue going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week, hopefully Wednesday, for the Wednesday Weekly. Bye.